Today on the Flash Traffic podcast, we talk about Operation Absolute Resolve to remove Venezuelan ex-president Nicolás Maduro. We discuss the tactics, the historical precedents for regime change, and what it means for international politics. Plus, we have a guest CH-47 Chinook helicopter pilot drop in to answer questions. Okay, let's go.
Conflict, politics, military-industrial complex, technology, war. The Flash Traffic Podcast.
I wish there was something going on this week that was
in
in international conflict, but I guess there's nothing
nothing
really exciting happening this week, except, of course, everything's going on. Let's just jump right into Venezuela. We're going to run the country for 3 more years. Delcy Rodriguez is my girl. She's a junior dictator. We're going to bring her on. I heard she's a great dictator in training. She was actually in Russia when this all took place. Isn't that telling?
That's interesting. What was she there for? A conference?
Who knows? Probably securing her retirement plan.
Now, Venezuela, they've bought a lot of weapons from Russia. A lot of like anti-aircraft missiles. I mean, apparently it didn't matter for what happened, but they bought thousands.
Yes, we will talk about that.
Yeah.
Hugo Chavez in 2009 got a loan from Russia to purchase Russian weapons for $2.2 billion.
Of course.
And part of that, we'll talk about it later in the actual tactics of the operation, Absolute Resolve. Part of that was S-300 anti-air defense, systems, which apparently were completely worthless against the F-35, as predicted, as we all know. There's some other stuff about Chinese air defense too that we'll get to. But let's just jump in. Those who are not familiar with what happened this week, which is probably no one, but I'll just review. On 3 January, the United States conducted Operation Absolute Resolve, a direct action against the illegitimate president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores, who were snatched and grabbed in the middle of the night by U.S. Delta Force operators. This article from the BBC says, Spies, Drones, and Blowtorches, How the U.S. Captured Maduro. I wanted to play this video.
Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. The men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition,
which will be forever.
I think Trump would have a problem reading a comic book. I've seen kindergartners read better than the orange clown can, but let's not get into his cognitive ability right now.
And the video showed a bus being blown up. What was that?
The narco-terrorist bus. It had to go. It was going to
There must be better footage than that.
It's going to be shipped to the U.S. on
I guess the BBC
speedboat.
doesn't have any in-country, analysts that can be can you just take a picture of the airbase or something? No, just a random bus that happened to get blown up. I wanted to show this video because it's very important to the geopolitical analysis, and it's funny.
Sounds sarcastic. Okay,
here's the AI of Maduro on the plane.
I don't think that's AI. Is he moonwalking?
You think that's real?
Yeah, he's moonwalking. No, that's real, dude.
That's real.
Shit, that dude's got moves.
He's got moves. You don't think that's AI? You think
No, it is not.
You,
I think
you
it's
think
a
the
weight off his
FBI
mind. It's a weight off his mind to be captured.
Oh, to make you more relaxed. Is that
He hots in a cot, doesn't have to
is
worry
that a
about running the
technique?
country.
Is that good cop, bad cop technique where they make you relaxed so that you reveal all your secrets and do some techno dance? It reminded me of the opening scene of Blade. Remember that movie with the vampire movie, Blade?
Okay, that's horrible.
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes is horrible. That was
he's
a horrible
wonderful
movie.
actor. I cannot disagree more with your analysis. No, Blade 1 was an amazing movie.
It's a joke. It's horrible.
Amazing actor, just a thespian on so many levels.
After New Jack City, I stopped following him. That was his last good movie.
Oh, you were in his fan club until New Jack City.
Oh yeah, but after that, like he did nothing of quality after that.
Oh,
this is my opinion.
Can I show one more AI generated video of Nicolás Maduro on the plane just real quick because I love it. AI has changed the world already. Here's him as a TJ on the
I'm not
plane.
sure that's AI.
You think he's and Trump dancing?
I know it's AI.
It might not be AI.
No, it is because Trump didn't have the jowls of an obese hog after eating at the Trump. So that's how I know it's fake.
Oh, that makes sense. Also, he didn't do the double dong dancing. Like this.
Jerking off 2 giraffes like he likes to do. Yeah, right.
So you know that is AI. Anyways,
giving a hand Joe to 2 giraffes at one time. Yeah.
2 giraffes.
He's an expert at that. The orange clown.
That's a good addition.
Giving a hand Joe to 2 giraffes.
I have not heard 2 giraffes. I like that description. That makes more sense.
So he gets their necessary elixir to keep them going.
Wow, you just had to take that extra.
Dude, it's been a month, bro. It's been 2 months.
That extra mile. You had to get all the holiday stuff out of your system. That's nice. Okay, so the strike was preempted by 150 U.S. aircraft. Apparently,
that's a lot.
And they bombed the Air Force bases, a couple of Air Force bases, to disable Venezuela's air defenses.
Of course.
And as you mentioned, some of those air defenses, most of them were Russian that did nothing. So what a waste of money. But here's something even more interesting, I think, is that let me show you this Reuters article.
Reuters does good work.
They're great. Love you, Reuters.
They are legit.
China made it. Oh, let me show you this Newsweek article. And the title is, quote, China made military radars may have failed Venezuela during U.S. raid. May have. Oh, they did fail Venezuela. So apparently, here's a picture of it I'm showing. That is a Chinese JY-27 Alpha, high-powered, supposed to be stealth detecting radar. Guess what?
Stealth detecting. It's a tall order.
Didn't do a very good job of detecting stealth. So now countries like India are looking at this operation and saying, wow, we really got screwed. We really got screwed on these Chinese. This might be good for U.S. Patriot sales if we had enough to sell.
They're calling it a 3D long-range, resistant to jamming, stealth detecting radar. But apparently they didn't detect, or it was blown up before it could detect a helicopter.
Well, it's just like anything else built in China. You get what you pay for. So
don't go there, bro.
Maybe we'll start building a lot more Patriots. Turkey, if I recall, also bought the S-400 radar from Russia. And that was why Turkey was not allowed to buy F-35s initially, because they bought all the Russian air defense systems.
What was the connection there? Just like they didn't want them buying Russian products?
Yeah. Well, the idea was that if you had Russian advanced air defense systems, the S-400, and you also had the F-35 in your country,
Right.
you could run cross tests to determine technical capabilities and vulnerabilities. So I think that was the reasoning behind you can't have the F-35 and the the S-400
400 combined.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's an ongoing thing. I think Turkey has said they're good with that. Like they'll give the S-400s back.
Yes,
I think
especially
we're
after this week. After
this week. What about 4 years of Ukraine, dude? Like, hadn't done that well.
Yeah, not very good. Well, anyways, Operation Absolute Resolve. So they sent in a bunch of stealth fighters, some jammers, some growlers. And then they also sent in either one or two
growlers, the E6 Alpha Growler.
Right, the jammer. Apparently they were
Boeing?
jamming.
Okay,
they were jamming communications with this thing. Of course,
yeah.
They also apparently sent in at least one CH-47 Chinook, which is a large helicopter. And we'll talk about that in a bit. We might have a special guest on today to talk about that helicopter. But it's a big helicopter and it carries a lot of people. Apparently, you can pack almost 100 people in there if you just shove them in there. Clearly, this is not what
100.
Almost 100 troops if you shove them in there sideways,
like dudes laying on top of each other.
Yes. Okay. No seats. Okay. Standing room only. But apparently a tactical operation would allow about 50 personnel to be inside the Chinook.
That many?
Yeah, 50. Up to 50. So it's 30 to 50 personnel. Let's guess how many people you think that they used on this operation. How many Delta Force operators do you think that they fast roped onto the complex?
All of them.
All 120 Delta Force operators.
They got pull security, dude. Someone's got pull security.
But isn't there some liability with that? I mean, you can't. I get it. It's an optimization problem, right? You got to have security and you want a lot of people in there, but there's a lot of vulnerability and some risks associated with multiple aircraft.
Probably not going up against the Venezuelans. You're probably training was probably harder than this mission.
Well, they weren't necessarily going up against the Venezuelans because most of Maduro's security detail were Cubans. And really? 40 Cubans died in this operation. Yeah, so they were going up against.
I mean, like I said, you're talking, Delta. These guys are, highly trained, possibly the best trained in urban warfare in the world. What are Cubans going to do?
Yeah,
and there's a saying like, however tough you are, you're not bulletproof. Like, okay, you got Cubans in there, and
yeah. Well, apparently,
interesting.
Here is how this operates. I think the crux of this whole operation was intelligence. It always comes down to intelligence. We spend somewhere of north of $800 billion a year on our intelligence. Is that right? Or is it 80 billion?
I say 80.
80, sorry. It's 80 billion. 80 billion. Yeah, that would be the whole defense budget almost. $80 billion a year on our intelligence complex. No other country even comes close to that. Not even close. And it came down to the ability of the CIA and the DOD to develop a pattern of life on Maduro. They also, apparently, the CIA had humaned someone in Maduro's close circle of buddies telling the CIA where he is at all times or relaying information back. And that's got to help.
So that guy got paid.
He got paid.
CIA's like, how much you want? How much you want? Yeah. Okay. How much you want to flip for?
Just as a side note, Aldrich Ames died yesterday. Super spy from the Cold War. Do you know how much the Russians paid him for revealing almost every Soviet asset we had?
$500K?
Yes. $2.7 million.
Well, not that much.
Enough for an alcoholic, traitor like Aldrich Ames.
So I remember, I think he lived in Falls Church, Virginia,
He did. So
outside of
he
DC.
came back from a remote assignment overseas, went back to Falls Church, bought a house
for $500K
with cash, a $500,000 house in cash, and a Jaguar. So
nothing to see here.
And it still took the CIA years to pin him down.
Now, because of that case, afterwards, CIA specifically, and probably the intelligence community writ large, started doing income verification.
Yes.
Of like how much money you make, bro? Like how much you have in assets?
Yeah.
As a underpaid government employee.
That's why now they can detect spies in the agency by the way they walk, because they have to shove diamonds up their asses.
Where we go? This deteriorated quick. 16
that might not be true. I might have made that up.
Deteriorated quickly.
Back to Venezuela. Wow. Back to Venezuela, where we're going to run the country for 3 years at least.
Yeah, we can't run fucking Cleveland. You think we're going to run Venezuela? Are you out of your fucking mind?
We have Delcy Rodriguez to run it for us, the dictator in waiting. Anyways, but on the intelligence front from this Operation Absolute Resolve. Apparently there was a cyber strike that shut down the electrical grid of Caracas.
Sure.
During the strike, which that's amazing. That's amazing in and of itself. Apparently Caracas is like any South American third world shithole. The grid is very vulnerable and old. And it's not like shutting down Beijing, right? But still pretty impressive. So tell me, if you will indulge me, since you're not Delta Force, you were just a lowly special operator.
I was vanilla, right?
You are a plain Jane Green Beret, blah, blah. Nobody. You weren't Delta.
Nobody.
We can talk about Delta from your perspective, but tell me about this operation from a tactical perspective, starting at fast roping out of a Chinook or a Black Hawk onto the roof.
Did they fast rope onto a roof?
I'm guessing. They're not going to. Maybe they land.
They may not have had to. Depends on the situation or whatever.
We saw that video a couple of weeks ago of them on the boat. The Navy SEALs, they fast roped from like 4 feet above the deck. So,
I don't know if that was necessary, but okay.
I think it's more trouble than it's worth, but okay.
There's a problem on a boat with the movement of an aircraft, impacting it and crashing the aircraft. So yeah, it looks ridiculous. Like, bro, just jump off. You could twist an ankle.
I mean, like, yeah, you don't want to twist your ankle, or
you don't want that aircraft to hit that moving ship and tip you over and crash it. So, it looked ridiculous. Wasn't it like 4 dudes, like 4 SEALs took over a ship the size of a small town? I'm like, that's impressive. I mean, those guys are good.
But there's no defense on a.
Yeah, you're just like on a bullhorn. I'm a Navy SEAL. Surrender now. There's no point in even fighting me. Okay. I'm like, here, take my gun.
I don't get paid for this shit.
Yeah, I'm not doing this.
Am I going to shoot Navy SEAls? No.
A Navy SEAL? They're the best.
Stab them in the face.
Yeah, they got the right to best books.
Yeah, and tell me about your perspective. Like, what do you think they trained for? Obviously, they had a mock-up of the complex. They're going through every room. They've done this for 2 months. So how many times have they done it? How many times do you think they've gone through that training mount?
Did they know they were going to get him in this building and nowhere else?
Yeah, apparently they knew which building. They had trained for the specific building. They had a mock-up of that building, and they trained for a couple months prior to the operation.
You're going to know the entrances, the exits, the windows, the doors, stairwells. You're going to know all that you could possibly know with that. And I guarantee you, if he had a Cuban PSD, I probably guarantee you they're not practicing like that to defend it.
Personal security detail.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not like, well, let's practice defending this from an attack and let's go through it. I bet you that was never done on their end. They're like, it's a building.
What about rules of engagement would you think it was kill everyone that moves except for Maduro and his wife, or what do you? How tight do you think they were? I don't.
That would sound reasonable, right?
Yeah.
If someone's a security force or element, you're wearing a uniform, you got a weapon or whatever, you're a legitimate target, ish. And just like the level of training, obviously, not just Delta, but special forces, urban warfare teams, SEALs. These guys have, close quarters combat, close quarters shooting training that none of these guys have had. Not the Cubans. Insert whoever you want. No one has that level of training or security, and these guys are going to go through them like nothing.
Hey, let's get back to the tactics. We have a special guest, and let me bring her in. Hello, Shannon.
Hi, guys.
Shannon Sharrock. Should I call you Shannon Sharrock, or do you Shannon
S2?
Sharrock?
S2?
Shannon Sharrock.
Yeah, you can call me S2.
Could it be Shah?
Sure.
Shah Shannon, Shah Rock. Look, like that just came to me here.
Yeah, that's nice.
Brilliant. How about Shawshank Sharrock? I like that.
Right.
That's got a prison theme too.
It's got a nice ring to it. Yes, sir.
I don't know if I want that one.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Shannon, you were a Chinook pilot, and we were talking about the Venezuela snatch and grab operation. Oh, look at that!
Oh, the I love me wall, impressive,
yeah.
Nice.
So the lead helicopter on the assault was a Chinook, and apparently the pilot was one of the injured, one of the two U.S. injured personnel. I guess there was two. He got shot 3 times in the legs, in the lower body. Tell us about the Chinook. It's a big plane, carries lots of people.
Helicopter.
Really good plane, I've been told.
Helicopter.
Aircraft.
Helicopter. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Helicopter,
yeah.
You're the Space Force, bro.
So it's the biggest of all the Army helicopters, and it's surprisingly easy to fly. And I think that is mainly because you don't have to worry about counteracting torque. It doesn't have a tail rotor. It's got the dual rotors. And the Chinook is a CH-47, C standing for cargo, but it's got a really broad mission. It can be used for heavy lifting, troop transport, fire operations, rescue. And I know I'm biased, and a little shout out to Joe, but it basically can do everything a Black Hawk can do, but bigger, faster, and longer.
And this is something that you told me this morning, which I found interesting. The Chinook is much faster, apparently, than the Black Hawk.
Yeah. So perhaps for bursts of speed, the Black Hawk may have the edge there, but definitely for cruise, it's faster. For any length of time, it's going to be faster. And that's, I think, just based on, the differences in aerodynamics and those types of things. But yeah, it's the fastest aircraft. You wouldn't think of it like that, but it is.
That's amazing. Now, along those lines, how vulnerable is it? Because it seems like sending in this gigantic, basically the size of a bus, helicopter into a stealth mission. It seems like that wouldn't be the first choice. But how vulnerable is it to ground fire? Does it have any countermeasures from, IR or radar locked missiles? Or what would you do in that situation? Does it have redundant fluids, fly by wire? I don't know anything, the helicopter parlance.
Yeah, so Special Forces is probably going to have a lot more stuff than, what I had. And I should start out by saying after flight school, when we picked our aircraft, we were outside with some friends. And one of my friends, there happened to be a Chinook in the air, and he put his hands up and put the Chinook in between his hands as he's moving it. And he said, "That's a really big target." I'm like, well, that's a real buzzkill. Come on, man. But yeah, I mean, it's huge. So, I mean, that's going to be a problem. But, you've got the paint that helps with the heat signature. You have chaff. You do have the mounted guns. And then there's additional chaff is basically going to be the only thing that I'm aware of that we had on the aircraft, but I'm sure that Special Forces is going to have more fancy stuff than that.
Are there
Infrared too? I'm sorry.
Are there redundant hydraulic systems if you catch a bullet in a certain main line of oil or something? Are there other redundant systems that would take over for that, or is there some way to manually fly the thing if it gets shot up a lot, or what happens then?
Yeah, so hydraulics is a problem. We used to say that if it's leaking, it's good because that means that there's hydraulic fluid there. As soon as it's no longer leaking, then you're screwed. And so the hydraulic system is paramount. There aren't any redundant systems. You're screwed if hydraulics is hit.
Yep. How difficult is an operation like this from a pilot's perspective? So apparently they were wearing nods, night observation devices. You're coming in really low. You've never flown in Caracas. You've only done it in a simulation, probably. Apparently they were flying 100 feet off the deck.
Mm-hmm.
They took small arms fire. How difficult is this operation from a pilot's perspective?
I think it probably depends on where they're landing, in terms of, is it a combined space, they need to obviously make sure that they've got the best maps as far as any kind of wires and those types of things. If you're coming in at nightfall, the wires are a huge concern. I've never been in combat. I've never been in that kind of circumstance where I've had to think about that, but my pucker factor sure would be high.
Did you ever fly at night? Did you ever have to fly
yeah.
at night?
So when you're flying night vision goggles, it's very difficult if you're 100 feet off the ground to discern differences in like there's a berm here, there's these rolling, changes in the ground. That is very concerning. And then of course you're coming in hot, right? I mean, you're probably flying in and then doing like a kick with your pedal to come in and stop on a dime and then land, so that you can try to avoid as much ground fire as possible and, as quick as possible to get the guys out the back. Yeah. And then I'd be curious, do you know if he was shot upon approach or while,
no idea. All it said was he got shot 3 times. And after he unloaded the Delta Force, he left and went back to the, I think the Iwo Jima, the USS Iwo Jima. And another Chinook came immediately, was already en route to replace him and pick up.
You wonder if maybe he was shot through the chin bubble too, because the pilots are obviously at the front of the aircraft, and the aircraft is so huge that you really rely on that chin bubble to determine, your location when you're landing. You've got your flight engineer and your crew chief who are also talking to you about, your proximity, but it's this group effort, but you're seriously relying on your chin bubble down there. And that obviously is glass or not glass. I can't
like
think of it.
Plexiglass.
Yeah. So, that's going to be a pretty vulnerable spot for small arms fire.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I guess they couldn't put like a titanium bathtub like the Warthog has for the pilot because you still need to see down through.
Yes.
That's a problem. So basically they would need bulletproof glass.
And maybe they have that. I don't know, but that chin bubble is critical for pilots because
for landing.
You've and pinnacle landings and all that kind of stuff.
Interesting. Let me ask you one last question, Shannon. Thank you. This has been great. What's more exciting, flying a Chinook or being a lawyer?
I guess it depends on how you define exciting, right? I mean, there are some pretty high stress situations that I've been in flying that I've never experienced anywhere else. And I could have died at any one of those things, but thankfully I had competent people who were with me to get me out of some bad situations. And that wasn't even, in combat.
Yeah. And I guess you can't say, I object really loudly to your co-pilot. I guess you could.
Oh, I did that lots of times. It didn't work though.
It's not the same thing. It doesn't have the same gravitas as the courtroom. Okay. Well, thanks, Shannon. This has been great.
Yeah. I don't know how much I helped, but it was good to see you both.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Tony, especially you.
Did you know Tony was a pilot in the Space Force?
He always does this. He always says that I was an astronaut. That I piloted
you said
the
it.
Space shuttle.
You said it.
No, you always say that.
Okay.
Almost every episode. It's amazing.
Tony flew the Space
Shannon.
shuttle. You may have not known that, Shannon.
Oh, great.
I did not know that.
Okay, yeah, he keeps it kind of quiet to his
No,
close
Tony, he nothing
Give us
that
some
you
dirt.
say
Editing all this
Give
out.
us some dirt. Give us some dirt.
About Tony. He's
Some of this is going to be edited out here at the end.
He's what?
Amazing and smart
Okay.
and very competent.
So she
That's
doesn't
true.
know you. Did
Yeah,
you
not
just
very well.
you just talk to her in a coffee shop this morning? And, hey, come on our podcast.
I found her online. ChinookPilots.com.
How much you paying her for this? $100?
$12.
That's not bad.
That's a lot.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
thanks so much.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Shannon. Bye.
Bye.
Let's pick back up at you were telling me about your perspective of the training. They were going to go cut through these guys like butter.
Yeah, just like the level of training that they have. And if you're the uninitiated, you may be like, well, what's the difference? You both have guns. You're both looking at each other. There's so much training that goes into like close quarter shooting. It is so exacting and demanding, even though it's like low tech work. Like this is not much to do with technology. It's like you and a weapon, and you must, accurately find a target, engage it, shoot it, and keep it moving. All these threats. Like these guys train it so much and get so good at it. There is a tremendous difference between a trained guy and an untrained guy. Now, an amateur can kill a professional all day long, right? You can just roll a hand grenade into a room full of guys, and it doesn't matter what your training level is, right? You're not bulletproof. But if it's like, one-on-one shooting and you're doing tactics and stairwells and doorways and hallways and, multiple entries and multiple breaches, there is a definite science and art to this. And for the untrained, you're going to get clowned. Like you might be surprised how fast these guys are going to go through you when you're like, well, I got a gun and they got a gun. It's kind of the same. Like it's not the same.
Amazingly, and if this is true, apparently they had brought blowtorch equipment to cut through Maduro's safe room, the steel door of his safe room. But they were so quick into his compound, he did not have time to get into the safe room and shut the door. Apparently, he was shutting the door on the safe room, and that's how quick they were.
And then a Delta guy put his foot in the bottom. It won't shut, it won't close. I'll be like, bro.
Trying to stop an elevator.
Bro, just give up, bro.
Yeah, at that point, you're pretty much done.
So it's funny.
Now you're a DJ.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, like the dude's trying to close the door and like didn't have enough time. That's interesting because like one of the premises of a raid is speed and shock. Like you want to get in so quick to get into their decision cycle that they can't react appropriately, can't react like and do what they need to. And like getting into that safe room, like, hey, they're coming so fast. You just don't have time to do what you needed to do. And we would, intentionally hit houses fast. Sometimes we were running up to a structure, running into a house. Although, that speed helps you. Obviously, you got to get to a point, where you're clearing things. But we would say speed is your security. If you move so fast where they can't react, and we had, instances where we're getting into a room and a guy's reaching for his gun. If he literally had another second, he wouldn't be reaching for the gun. He'd have his gun. So it's literally can be a second. It's a profession of seconds and split seconds and inches of that, where if that's the difference between, well, he was going for a gun, but he didn't have it. So now your choice is drop it, and go through the capture procedure, or keep going for it. I'm just going to shoot you and I'm going to move on to the next guy. But that's why that speed is so important, because you don't have time to do where, like, what should I do? I hear a noise. Let me get my weapon. Should I defend from here? Should I go there? You don't have time to even think about it, dude. We're on you so quick, the thought process never happens. Or you're just not ready. Like these security dudes, are they hanging out, sitting on a chair, playing PlayStation? I don't know.
Yeah. They probably weren't, scanning.
They're hanging out, like, here we are
for something.
on guard duty again, 7 days a week.
It just sounds like an optimization problem between security and speed, where you want to move fast.
Sure.
And there must be some indicator. You must have some
6-7. Yeah.
Yeah. And you must have some play, where an indicator where, okay, we're going to shift gears. We went from speed. Now we're deliberate because the enemy has set up. And so now we're switching gears to more of a deliberate attack instead of.
And you have ways to deal with that, right? You got, flash bangs. You can do, double breaching, multiple levels. You can be breaching on the ground floor. You can have a team breaching on the roof. And you can give like defenders like dilemmas. They got dilemmas like, how do you solve this? Like, oh, dudes are coming to me from me up top. I guess they were on the roof. How'd that happen? Guys coming below. You're caught between the two. You run out of options quick.
Yeah.
Surprisingly so. Like I had a buddy who did a training event with Delta on an airplane. And he was an SF guy, and he was OPFOR. Him and a couple of guys were OPFOR, with paint pellets or whatever, and they're mixed in between passengers and stuff. And he's like, Eric, and I went to the Q course with him, and we deployed Iraq together. He's like, Eric, you can't believe how fast they came. And I'm like, dude, you're trained. You're not just he's like, dude, he's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, they have done this so many times and can so rapidly find you and engage who's different. He's like, they send in dogs. He's like, you think you got time to deal with a dog? He's like, he got 1 second. And he's like, this German Shepherd or whatever is running at you full blast. He's been trained to see you with a gun in your head. He's running at you full speed. He's like, what are you going to do? You going to take out the German Shepherd or are you going to take out the dude? He's like, you have 1 second to literally decide. You point the gun to the dog, you just got shot. He's like, I just got shot in the head by a paint pellet. He says, you can't believe how fast it comes for an experienced guy who's not just a pushover and inexperienced. He says, in 1 second, you're done. And he says, you don't know what hit you. And he's like, we know they're coming. And we're armed and we're ready. But do you know where they're coming to the second? Just like maybe in an hour, maybe in 2 hours, or maybe in 10 minutes. Like, you don't know. And when that hits, he's like, they're on you quick. And they're quicker than you think. And you have 1 second to live. And he says, in like 2 seconds, we're all dead. Or a dog was chewing on you.
Well,
not quick. No.
Really, they're professional athletes. I mean, it's like basically playing basketball against an NBA player. Even if you were really good in college, let's say you were a really good basketball player in college, you'll get your ass destroyed by an NBA player.
LeBron James. Right? Well, he's got a basketball and me too. Like, we must be pretty close. Yeah. Nah, dude.
Ridiculous.
It's not even close. It's like, it's not close.
Let's just for a moment, let's look at this operation, Absolute Resolve, from a historic perspective. So there are some parallels, not exact parallels, but there have been some parallels in modern conflict history of something like this. The first one that comes to mind is Operation Eagle Claw, is what we call Desert One. Most people call it Desert One because Desert One was the FARP, the forward refueling and armament point, where in 1980, the U.S.-Iran hostage crisis, they were going to send in Navy SEALs, I think it was Navy SEALs, to go get the 50 or so U.S. hostages in Tehran. And apparently they had a refueling complex in the middle of Iran, and they were going to send 8 helicopters, large Sea Stallions, these large Navy, they look like, What Jolly Green Giants from Vietnam, those very big helicopters. They're very big helicopters. They're not as big as Chinooks. They're bigger than Black Hawks, but they were going to send 8 of these. Apparently, because of weather and miscommunication, only 6 got to the rendezvous point in the middle of the desert. And then there was a sandstorm, and 2 of the helicopters, or one of the helicopters, hit a refueling C-130 that was on the ground. And then both of those aircraft blew up and killed like 8 people. It was terrible.
I went to SFAS. I went to Special Forces Assessment and Selection with a guy who was a Desert One. He was a Ranger Bat guy. Ranger Bat was out there providing security. And anyways, I just went to selection with him, and he was older than me, and chatted with him a couple times. He said he had an MP5, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck did that do for you? And I said, what the fuck did that do for you? Know what he said? Not much.
So maybe he was backup to go into the city or something.
Well, he was pulling security, and they said there were some vehicles out there, like out near that where he was located. And he said he had they opened up on these vehicles, and he had he had an MP5 like SD,
so he didn't hit anything,
like suppressed 9mm. He said my MP5 was smoke was coming off, and I shot so much. I'm like,
oh wow.
And what'd you hit? He's like, I don't think I hit anything. He's like, but that's what they issued me. It's a clandestine raid. You use MP5 SDs for clandestine. It's like, bro, you're in the desert. You got to shoot like a mile away.
Yeah.
He's like, we didn't know. He's like, what do you want? Wow. He's like, I was a private. He's like, I'm just some idiot pulling security. But that's what he told me.
He was just in the Ranger Bat. He wasn't like a ranger. He was just
he was Ranger Battalion.
Oh, so he was like a PFC.
Yeah, he was a private in Ranger Bat at the time. Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting to get these little tidbits of stories. Like half the guys who go to SFAS were from Ranger Bat, at least 50%. And these are professional, tough guys. So they had some cool stories,
That's interesting that you say that, because I had the same kind of experience when I was a private, hearing stories from guys that came back from Operation Just Cause in Panama.
Just because we could.
Just because we could. That's another parallel historic operation, Operation Just Cause in Panama in 1989 to oust Manuel Noriega from Panama. In that operation, we sent roughly 27,000 military personnel.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot, including the Army Rangers and the 5th Infantry Division Mechanized Red Devils from Fort Polk, Louisiana. In 1990, right after that operation took place, I was a private in Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Thank you for your service.
Great. And I got a bunch of stories, just like you did, from guys that were in Panama. And the 5th Infantry Division, one of their missions was, quote, urban movement support, end quote, throughout Panama City. And what the guys told me they actually did, this is what they did for urban movement support. They got in their Humvees with the 50 cal on top, and they drove through the city, and they were just shooting shit.
Mogadishu.
Just shooting stuff.
Before Mogadishu was cool.
And playing Van Halen.
And I also went to SFAS with a guy who was from Ranger Bat. And then after SFAS, I went November to December of 89. He jumped into Panama and got shot. And I say he got shot in the ass jumping in, because then I saw him later in the Q course, and we were like busting his balls.
I forgot about that. A side note, I believe that Just Cause was the last time they had combat airborne operations. So you got your little gold star over your airborne. I believe that's the case.
Nah, I think they got it in Iraq too. Well, you're probably saying that's the last legitimate one. And you're probably right, because I know the 173rd jumped into Iraq, and I believe
they got a combat star.
I believe so. But don't forget, in Afghanistan too, Ranger Bat, would do airfield seizure and stuff like that. I don't know if you're getting a gold star for that.
Oh, that's interesting. Another historic that we can't fail to mention, another historic parallel is, of course, Black Hawk Down, 1993 Battle of Mogadishu. when the Army Rangers and Delta Force had a daylight raid that went south really fast. Apparently, one of the Black Hawk helicopters got hit by an RPG from a skinny, which is what they call the Somalis, on the roof. Let's show this video as we talk. I'll keep the volume off. Yeah, this is from the movie Black Hawk Down. I'll just keep
good
the volume off.
great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Really good book. Really
Jude
good
Rowland
movie.
with mirror sunglasses and a bandana.
Yeah, I doubt if that's how it actually went down.
No.
But, this just shows the difficulty of doing helicopter operations in an urban environment where anybody can just pop out anywhere and just shoot you with anything.
As a side note, by the way, if you haven't watched Black Hawk Down, the list, it's a great movie. You got to watch it. It's not like over dramatized or ridiculous.
Jeremy Piven's in it. Look at that. He's the pilot that went down. I forgot about that.
So I did I heard a talk by Michael Durant, one of the Black Hawk helicopter pilots who crashed and then was captured. He did the talk circuit after that. I don't know if he did 20 and got out, but I attended a talk that he did afterwards.
What did he say?
Anyways. So, of course, it's, he's in a talk show circuit, so it's a leadership spiel.
Oh, I got it.
Resilience and don't give up.
Keep your head about you.
Yeah, I got it.
Never give up.
Yeah, I mean,
Keep
he was
clear.
A horrible situation on that. And also, this really ties into like doing like SEER school, and there's a lot of ways to be captured. Like, it's not just going to be by the Chinese or the Russians. Like, you get captured a lot of different ways with like non-state actors, and it can be worse.
Everybody wants to capture an American. Everybody wants
I was in a slight war story, nothing heroic, in Iraq during a firefight, and we called in like Apaches for support, and then the insurgents fired,
and it was denied.
No, not this time. And then the insurgents shot an RPG at one of them, missed, and then they flew off. And I'm like, what? I said, what the fuck is going on here? Like, you're the most heavily armored helicopter on the planet, which really doesn't matter. Your rotor blades aren't armored. Right. Apaches can't withstand high-intensity combat. They can't. And they flew off. I'm like, bro, we're still fighting. Like, I can't just run off and be like, I'm getting shoot out by RPG. Let me run back to my base. Like, I'm cool. Yeah. They're like, no, dude. They're like, yeah, we're like, we're out. Received enemy fire. We were disengaging at this time. I said, what the fuck? Like, can I disengage at this time too? So anyway, so we had to, continue fighting without the Apaches.
You can understand, right? Like, they're not built to take fire; they're built to give fire, and that's it.
100%. But that's the vulnerability of a helicopter, like in high intensity combat. No, they cannot withstand direct fire.
Yeah,
they can't.
It pains me.
No helicopter can. It's impossible.
And it pains me to say this, but that's why we need the Warthog. We need the A-10, because nothing else can come that close and give that much firepower, and then just do another lap and then come in the exact same ingress route because they can't touch them, right? We need the A-10. And
well, we still retired. Went like now it's like what, 50 years old. It is an old aircraft.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So
the Air Force hates Congress jamming it down their throat to keep revamping it, and they're like, we got aircraft that can do everything it does. The Air Force hates this being foisted on them, but I think it's gone for good in 2026. That's this year.
It may already be gone. I think they're phasing it out. This year is the last ones.
We had like a couple hundred left, I think. Fairchild used to make it. I mean, it's a legit design.
Yeah. Well, I forgot that Jeremy Piven was in Black Hawk Down. He was. Did you ever see him in Entourage? He was the dude's agent, Ari Gold. He was. No, you never watched Entourage?
Yeah, I was probably deployed, bro. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Hipster, Gen Z, motherfucking. I don't watch it, bro.
Look, just to wrap up on the historical point. Look, that's not even to mention other operations to overthrow governments like Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom. That cost us trillions and thousands of American lives and millions of civilian casualties, right? Now compare that with this 30-minute operation that killed 80 Venezuelans and Cubans, 2 Americans injured.
I also did
nothing.
Funny you're talking special operation raids. I did a talk with or this guy gave a presentation at Fort Bragg. I think his name was Joe Lupiak. If you were in special operations, you knew who the dude was. He was on the Sante raid. So the raid in Vietnam to try to rescue POWs, and the camp was empty. He was a Sante raider, and those guys had like a tremendous reputation for having done it. They had like helicopters. I forget what they had, but they put mattresses on the floors of the helicopters. They weren't Hueys, they were bigger ones, and mattresses. So when they landed and had that impact, like you wouldn't break your arm or something when you crash landed. Because I think one of them like crash landed. I think it took out like a tower. Like the first helicopter like crashed into the tower like to crush it. And then like crash landed. Yeah, on purpose. So like we're putting the tower on like the belly of a helicopter. We're gonna smush these dudes, and then we're gonna crash land in a compound. And they lined the floor with mattresses. Like so on impact, you wouldn't like fuck yourself up and break bones. You would just like ugh. And then he I think they killed like I don't know like 100 Russian advisors or something like that. So it kind of reminded me of them like with the Cuban security force, where like, hey, you're all gonna eat lead just like everyone else. So
I would love to be at that pre-brief when they explained that helicopter we're gonna crash into the tower on purpose.
And dudes probably like, yeah, that's cool, dude.
Yeah, all right, never done that before. I'll do it.
It's made out of wood. It's not that sturdy, but you can't have them shooting at other helicopters. Like this thing's got to go for reals.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't have some machine gun at that high a vantage point. You're basically as high as a helicopter.
And this guy too said, hey, these guys were surprised. Like the guards there, like it was the surprise, the speed shock. It was like they were paralyzed. Like you're like, what? Like this is happening to us? Like
we never trained for this.
We never trained for this. And you're like, hey man, you're just getting led. And these guys
they're trained. They're trained to keep starved POWs, they're
not on the front lines. They're not in a war. They're not not ready to fight at a moment's notice. Like you're not. That's not human nature. So, anyways, they got chewed up quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. NBA player versus anybody with a basketball.
Well, it's basketball, bro. I probably get a couple points on him or something. I mean, come on.
So what does all this mean for international relations and geopolitics?
You can't
what
drop
message
this
does this send to our enemies?
Well, let's talk about what happened and what didn't happen. So the whole Trump administration campaign to pressure Venezuela for last year is built on a mountain of lies, right? Complete fabrication, complete
You sound
lies,
like the guy from Elf.
Complete nonsense. That it's to stop the narco trade. Complete lie, complete fabrication, not true. But if if it's coming out of Trump's mouth, it's a lie.
I think Trump has been very straightforward on the regime change and the oil capture.
You mean the last week? No, he's lied about it for the entire time this is going on. Just last week, as he pivoted to what we knew
recently.
We knew all the lie. Remember, we talked about this on a podcast before. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing to Venezuela? What's the point of this? Like, this narco terrorism bullshit makes no sense because you would start with Mexico or you would start Colombia. It's made up. It's built on a mountain of lies. It's about the oil. Oh, okay, I get it. So that's the part that makes sense. Is for crony capitalism and a certain few corporations to benefit from this. Oh, I got it.
Don't you think it sends a clear message to our opponents that we can do something amazing like this? This is magic. That nobody else can do this. Europe can't do it. The French Foreign Legion couldn't do this. Spetsnaz could not do that. The Chinese wouldn't have a prayer of doing something like this. This is basically military magic that we pulled off.
Well, that's
how advanced this was.
Other countries can do raids too. It was a
they could try, but it wouldn't be clean.
Well, I don't know, there's organizations like GSG9 and SAS. Other countries could pull this off. I'm not
don't
taking
piss on my
away.
parade.
I'm not
Don't
taking
piss on my
away.
parade.
I'm not
This is-
taking away how good this was.
We're
and
celebrating American
sophisticated
firepower. Here.
over a third world country with a third-rate dictatorship.
That's
Don't
true.
get-
we wouldn't.
don't get
this
high on
wouldn't
your own
happen
supply.
in Beijing. It's
Don't
not like
get-
we're going to
don't get-
swoop in.
Don't have too much hubris here. Yeah, it was competent. It was well planned. It was well executed. All that. Yes. So what do you got
Okay.
now? So
Well,
now, now what?
if you're a third world dictator, though, it does send a message, right? If you are Gustavo Petro, who is the president of Colombia, right, who's a socialist, and he said, quote, "A clan of pedophiles wants to destroy our democracy. To keep Epstein's list from coming out, they send warships to kill fishermen and threaten our neighbor with invasion for their oil," end quote.
That's an accurate statement.
Yeah, but that
However,
doesn't mean he's
however, that's 100% accurate statement.
yes,
So Venezuela.
true.
So you did not do regime change. Let this sink in. You did not. You took a
Right.
dude and you took him out, just like capturing a cartel guy in Mexico. We captured El Chapo. Oh, that's a cool story, bro. Had the drugs stop
Yeah.
coming in? No, they
Right.
haven't. You captured one dude. You didn't stop the drug flow. Just like getting Maduro, you didn't change his regime. His regime is still in power. It's
That's
just
correct.
the next dude up is
Yep.
like, F you, bro. I'm still
It's
running
a
the show
dudette.
here.
It's a dudette. It's Rodriguez. But
Yeah, fuck you, bro. I'm still in charge.
That's it. That's
So now what?
Look, Rubio addressed this, and he said, "Look, it may be regime change. It's too early to tell, but regardless,
So
it
it's not
looks
regime
like
change.
it's policy change. So the regime
What's the
might
policy
still be in
change?
power.
Right,
The
they
same
are.
security apparatus may
Right.
still be in place, yet their
It is.
policies will be aligned. At least that's what Rubio and Trump are saying that their policies will be aligned with U.S. interests here going forward. And if not, Trump said that he's prepared to put boots on the ground and he's prepared to do Operation Absolute Resolve Part 2 on Delcy Rodriguez if she doesn't comply.
Oh, sounds like a policy that ass clowns would come up with, and
Okay.
And they have.
Well, I think if I'm President Petro of Colombia, I think I'd be pretty nervous right now because remember
What are you gonna do?
in the early 2000s, and we've talked about this in the podcast before, in the early 2000s and 2010s, the United States spent $10 billion on Plan Colombia,
Big
and it looks
operation.
like we got absolutely nothing for our money. Did we
Is that like
make
Afghanistan?
Colombia?
Is that like Afghanistan? Did we get as much money out of that as we did Afghanistan?
Well, the dollar values add a couple zeros on that. $1 trillion for Afghanistan versus 10 billion. Colombia seems like a bargain, but did it strengthen Colombian institutions? Did it democratize them better? Did it quell any of the drug war, any of the cocaine coming out of Colombia?
Some.
Nah,
I mean, come on.
nothing.
Dude,
Nah.
you got Pablo Escobar. Dude, I just watched Narcos. Come on. Pablo Escobar,
okay.
He got whacked. Come on.
This is where
dude.
you get all your counter drug information. Is
Dude,
from
it's
Narcos.
based on a true story.
It's legit.
It's accurate.
So look, if I was Colombia, I'd be like, okay, we better watch our P's and Q's going
Or what?
forward.
Or what? You're going to capture one guy and then charge him with a crime? And
Sure.
then the rest of your regime just keeps going on? What could go wrong? Libya
Yep.
turned out pretty good too.
Yeah, you're right. It's pretty much all futile. But
there's a line between like trying to do positive, meaningful, lasting change that makes the world a better place based on whatever your definition of that is. And remember the book before 9/11? American hubris, American arrogance and power combined to try to get stuff our way because we're a bully and we can. No other thought behind it, no other lasting, meaningful change, just the U.S. throwing a temper tantrum like Trump, like corrupt Trump in a wet diaper who thinks that you can remove a dude to do regime change. Everything's going to be good now. Like this is complicated. This stuff has just started. I'm curious to see, because right now, basically what Rubio described is we're blackmailing Venezuela. You're going to do what we say, or we're going to keep the blockade up and keep capturing your ships. Yeah, you're right. You're blockading them. What happens when they give you two middle fingers and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that? Now what?
Well, plan B, whatever
Which
that
is.
Whatever that is. But you know what is a more concrete reaction to this operation is the influence on Cuba. Because Cuba apparently was very dependent on Venezuelan oil for two reasons.
Sure.
One, it powered the island.
Sure.
And number two, they sold a lot of it to China. So it funded the island.
Right.
And Trump was asked about, is Cuba next? He's like, I don't think so, because Cuba is going to implode on its own. And that might be true.
So that's nonsense. Cuba's already imploded after the fall of the Soviet Union. How much more do you want them to implode? It's like saying Afghanistan imploded. Yeah, no shit. It's in a state of constant implosion. The Cuban economy isn't growing and based on tech. And, how much more do you want it to implode than it already has?
So what would you recommend? Just pushing it over the cliff then? Just
pushing what over the cliff? For what?
Cuba. Why? Because
why? You want to invade them and take them over?
Yeah, we have a belligerent country that's only 80 miles, south of Miami.
So you've had that same argument for the last 65 years.
Yes, but the difference is we're coming to realize in international relations and geopolitics that there's nobody coming to save you anymore. If you're Cuba, if you're some kind of narco-terrorist, if you're some dictator in South America, you don't have your patron Soviet Union anymore. And I'm surprised it's taken us this long to get to that point.
That is true. Russia's going to do nothing for you. That's absolutely correct. They're getting their asses handed to them in Ukraine. They don't have the bandwidth to do anything.
I'm just surprised that we put up with Cuba this long.
Because we should be a colonial power again. That's what you said.
Well, we shouldn't have to put up with bullshit in our sphere of influence.
Answer the question. So you believe we should be colonialists again. We should take over countries. We should run them. We should be a colonial power and run different countries and tell them what they should do.
Should we? I don't know. Are we?
That's what you're saying. Yes. Okay.
Apparently, yes.
So do you support American colonialism? Yes or no? And what do you think the result's going to be?
Insofar as it relieves geopolitical problems in our sphere of influence.
What problems?
Cuba. Is that not a problem?
Well, how so? How are they a problem more so or less than anyone else? I think the biggest problem in our sphere is drug trafficking, but that's been so for decades. So why don't you do something about the drug flow out of Mexico? What's the problem Cuba's giving you that you can't handle?
Don't you want a vacation in Cuba though? Don't you want to go back to the heydays of the 1950s before Fidel Castro took over in 1959, the revolution, I think?
Yeah, it's called going to the Florida Keys. It's the same thing. Going to the Caribbean, it's the same thing.
I've never been to Cuba. I don't think it's. I've been to the Keys. My brother lives in the Keys. I've been there. I don't think it's Cuba. I'm just going out there on limb. Anyways, let's move on. What about Iran? So it's probably too early to say if these people flooding the streets and riots.
They've done it before.
But this is actually smaller than previous ones, so it's too early to know if this is going to take root. But they must be emboldened on some level when Trump said, if the Iranian regime kills protesters, then the United States stands by, ready to act. Turns out they've already killed protesters and we've done nothing, but it must be empowering at some level for the protesters, wouldn't you say, for Iran?
Sure, I guess, but how much support can you rely on? Are we going to invade Iran? Are we going to do a decapitation strike?
No, we'll just bomb.
Well, that's been done too.
Yeah, well, too early to say in Iran, but it does seem positive. But and then coming to Russia, of course, Russia. We seized a Russian flagged, and I say that in quotes, flagged oil ship that the U.S. that came out of Venezuela, and it was flagged originally from Guyana, and then the U.S. started chasing it around the Caribbean, and it changed its international flag to Russia, and Russia requested the U.S. to stop chasing our Ghost Fleet oil boat.
Fuck you.
Shut up, Russia. We're good. And then the Coast Guard just took it over. Like, fuck you.
But so that's interesting. That
Russia.
shows you how weak the U.S. is on Russia, how weak Trump is, because he's essentially a Putin sock puppet. Russia is toothless. They are giving everything they have in Ukraine. The stats again are 420,000 casualties for 2025, a little bit more than 1,000 a day. Ukraine is pushed back and taken a couple small little villages, etc. I think this year, we don't need to get too deep into this. Ukraine and Europe has to stop worrying and fretting about Russia and roll them back. This year,
God, we say that every year.
No. You roll them back. Just last year, Russia took 0.7% of Ukrainian territory for 420,000 casualties. Good Lord, man, that's not a ratio I want to absorb. Now this year, stop the nonsense. Defeat Russia. Roll them the fuck up.
Maybe
they're out of Schlitz.
Maybe it will happen. Maybe it'll happen. We got a couple more extra years thanks to the European Union. They did not act as strongly as they could have by sequestering the Russian funds.
They don't want to do it. They're afraid to do it. Yeah.
But they did keep this war on life support for at least another year and a half, another 2 years, with the funding that they have approved. So it may keep going. And you know what? I think Russia is going to try to snatch and grab Zelensky again.
That's interesting.
Because they're unsophisticated morons, and they see that the U.S. did it, and then they're going to try to do it again just to make a point.
Russia, you have no chance, dude. You lost it. You lost a chance. You had the first week right when they tried it.
They don't have.
You can't get a helicopter in there to do this. You don't have. They don't have the ability. Russians are riding horses and donkeys.
Oh, we have a video to end this podcast about the horse.
Russia's out of Schlitz, dude. Stop the nonsense. Roll them the fuck up this year. Roll them out.
Plus, they don't have the human support that they thought they did inside of Ukraine. Ukraine has been united as a country after the initial, ousting of.
They had a couple weeks of the confusion to maybe pull off that spectacular thing, but didn't happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. They can't. There's no way. But they'll try because they're morons. But overall,
they might. Don't. I wouldn't bet money against them doing something ignorant. They do something ignorant every day.
Yeah, well, that's what I have come to enjoy watching. But overall, Operation Absolute Resolve. It's a big win, in my opinion, for America. We handedly dispatched a dictator in our own backyard with hardly a shot fired, relatively speaking. We sent a message to our enemies. We exercised realpolitik of military power. And the liberals don't like that. The liberals don't, it's a violation of international law. We should have a UN Security Council resolution before you try anything like that. Well, then it wouldn't have worked. But they don't want to give Trump a win. And, I get that.
Why would you want to give a corrupt criminal clown a win? The whole operation was based on a mountain of lies.
I get that. I get the idea that you don't want to give the Trump administration
that out there.
You don't want to empower and embolden a moron like Trump, especially with the world's greatest military at his disposal. I get that. But,
that's a scary statement.
Rising tide raises all ships.
That's an most ignorant thing you have said.
Thank you. I'm glad we can end the podcast on Venezuela.
Rising sea analogy again. Don't ever do it.
Oh, man. Thank you. I'm so glad we can end the week and the podcast on idiocy.
High note.
Hey, we have to. It's Friday, so we have to end on two videos. One, you already discussed it. It's Russians riding into battle on horses now.
Show it.
First it was the Cold War armored columns, and then it was cars, and then it was motorcycles and ATVs and Chinese golf carts, Desert 1000s.
You name it.
And now it looks like we're back to horses.
And Ukrainians mentioned that they intentionally try not to hit the horses. They try to hit, like the dude riding it, they'll try to hit the dude himself.
Yes.
Just saying.
They tried to scare. Let's just watch this video. I'll make sure the sound's off so we don't have to listen to the techno music. I'm showing a video now. I'm showing a video now of a Ukrainian FPV drone attacking what seems to be a Russian column of horse cavalry. Probably not even that sophisticated. But yeah, let's take a look at the video. So I think the Ukrainians want to try to scare the rider off the horse.
I think it works.
So they don't blow up the horse.
Look how much equipment that guy's got on. He's got like 100 pounds of stuff on his back. Oh, this guy's dead. Oh, you're dead.
Yeah, he's toast. And
oh no, you can't dive on the ground, dude. You can't do that.
You got to keep running like an alligator's chasing you. And that's it. And then it just loops back. But those horses do not like the sound of a drone right up their head. They're going to start bucking. They're going to start moving. And good luck trying to hold on to that, especially with your 100-pound ruck on, because you can't resupply any other way.
Look at all the horses ran off.
Oh, you can't stop
you can't
running.
Do that. You can't dude, you can't lay on the ground.
Anti-drone 101. The only way you're going to survive is run in a zigzag like an alligator's chasing you. That's it. Unless you're really good with a shotgun.
And hope the guy overshoots you and crashes. You just take a couple fragments or something.
There's tons of ways that an FPV drone will miss you.
Not this guy.
Not if you're lying on the ground still. Look, and then it just lines him up. He's like, you're toast. Anyways, one of the predictions for 2025 is I predicted by late summer that they would reconstitute their mobile capability. And you said, no, they're done. And you were right. They're absolutely were done. They were done by.
It is shocking. Like people who follow us, is shocking that the Russian entire armored capability has been annihilated. A lot of people still can't accept that. They think Russia is husbanding its forces to have this big strategic thing. No, they're not. It's hard for people to accept that drone warfare has resulted in the annihilation of the entire Russian army's armored force. Mm-hmm. Call it whatever you want. Tank, APC, it doesn't matter, dude. They've been wiped the fuck out. People still can't grasp that revolution in military affairs where, it'd be different with us, bro. Oh, they wouldn't get us like that. Okay. I think you're
hey,
here's the world. But,
here's the last video. We're wrapping this episode up on kind of a happy note. This is, the title of this video is A New Record. Ukrainian soldier shoots down 24 Russian Shahed drones in a single night using Sting interceptors.
That's pretty good.
That is amazing. That is amazing. 24 by one pilot knocks out 24 Shahed drones. This is good news.
I'd give him a 3-day pass for that.
He gets a 3-day pass. For every 25 Russian drones you destroy, you get
take Friday off, bro. Pass. Don't even think twice about it.
Do you think technologically that the pendulum is swinging back the other way now? Because Russian drone production is really causing problems in Ukraine this winter. Yeah. Zaporizhia and Dnipro City are getting hammered so hard this week that they're going days, weeks without electricity. And some of those apartment buildings, that's the only heat that people have.
Yeah, they're called big concrete buildings.
And it is sub-zero temperatures now in Ukraine. So, and Russia has really hit their stride as far as Shahed productions. We're seeing 450 drones in one single attack now.
They're easy to produce.
Hopefully these Sting little anti-drone drones may swing the pendulum back in Ukraine's favor.
But you're still being reactive. I had read that Ukraine thought they needed 3,000 Stings a day produced to launch. They're fast, they're small, they cost about $2,000 a pop. But you know what? Just transpose that Shahed for an Apache.
Oh yeah.
That $2,000 Sting will take out every helicopter in the world. You have no defense to it. Not chaff, nothing will protect you from a Sting.
Not an S-300.
No.
Imagine if Maduro and Caracas was ringed with these guys with these Sting drones from Ukraine.
It'll hit every helicopter.
Every U.S. helicopter would have been toast right away.
There's still no defense to it. Yeah.
Yeah. No defense. Well, it's a brave new world. Hey, that is it. That is the Operation Absolute Resolve, Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro.
Huge victory for the U.S. war machine.
Victory, Slava America. All right. Hey, if you like the Flash Traffic podcast, do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, forward to your relatives. Please do us a favor.
Good gift for your grandparents this year. Yeah.
That's right.
Hook us up. Send a URL.
Late Christmas gift.
Do it.
All right. Good chat. Bye-bye.
The Flash Traffic Podcast.